We've now seen examples of how to get information into a template and how to get information out as well. So we've seen property binding. Remember, this is how we set some property on an element. With property binding syntax, we make use of those square brackets. And then inside, we put the name of the property that we want to set on that element. We also looked at event binding. That has parentheses instead, and inside the parentheses, we put the name of the event that we want to watch for. Then with both these pieces of syntax, we write out a set of double quotes, and then whatever goes inside there is going to be executed as code. So we can reference different properties or methods that belong to our component class. Now there's one other very special part of syntax or piece of syntax that we need to understand. We've seen how to kind of get information as properties into specific elements, but how do we also just kind of like print out a piece of information in general, like display it as raw text that a user can see? Well, there's one last piece of syntax we need to understand around templates to do so. I'm going to go back over to my editor. I'm going to open up my app component HTML file once again. And then down at the very bottom, right after that last div, I'm going to try to print out the value of our password property. So in this case, I want to just print the value itself, as opposed to applying it as a property to an existing element. So to do so, we're going to put in a set of double curly braces. Then we can write out the name of the property that we want to print from our component class. So in this case, I'll just write out password like so. So once again, this right here takes a look at the password property of our component class. Whatever its value is going to be stuck right there inside of our template. So let's save this. We'll go back over. When our application first loads up, I don't see anything at the bottom. That is because when our component class is first created, the password property gets an initial value of empty string. But when we click on that generate button, that updates the value of the password property. It gives it that my password string or whatever it is. So I'm going to click on the button, and then I'll see my password appear down here at the bottom. So once again, this is like total magic on the side of Angular. We just updated a property on our class, and Angular automatically detected that and then updated our HTML to accommodate. That's pretty much total magic. Okay, so we've now seen how to react to events, how to set properties on elements, and how to print out plain information as well. So printing out information uses the double curly braces. Just like we saw with the property binding and the event binding as well, we are free to also call different methods on our class if we want to. So for example, back over inside of our class, if we added on some method inside of here called getAName, or how about just getName, that's better, and I returned a string of like, I don't know, Alex, I can now call this method from inside of those double curly braces. So I will save this, go back over once again. I can reference getName and call it like a function. If I save this, we can go back over, and right away I will see Alex appear. I want to remind you once again, for the third time now, we did not have to do this.getName. We did not have to do app.getName. We didn't have to do component.name. We just wrote the name of the method from our component class. That was it. All right, so now that we've seen these three forms of syntax, event, property, and this is technically called interpolation, by the way. That's pretty much the major core ideas of Angular templates. Believe it or not, those three pieces of syntax, that is the core things that you need to understand. Now that we've seen these three different forms of syntax, one more pause, we're going to start to add in some more functionality to our app in just a moment. But before we do, really quickly, I'm going to remove that example. I just wanted to show you how we could throw plain information into the template. And I'm also going to remove the getName method that I just added inside the component as well. Okay, so now quick pause. More development in just a moment.